Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is exactly 1 a.m. and I'm not going to vlog for a super long time tonight. Last night's vlog was like an hour and a half, so I'm going to try to balance it out a little bit tonight. My ears are like clogged. And I've literally been going all day today, and I have an early day tomorrow, so I don't want to be up any later than like 3 or 3:30, and I want to listen to a little bit of my audiobook. I finished Columbine last night, and I actually made a video about it on my BookTube channel today. And I started last night. I was going to go back and finish Angie Thomas's On the Come Up. I'm like 45 minutes into it, I think, and so I'm just going to start the whole book over, and I didn't want to read that right now. So Tanya had said, so many people have said that The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is so fantastic. Tanya like literally read it in a day. So it is like rain here, you guys, nonstop today. My head has been killing me. So I started it last night, and I listened to like an hour of it right away. You guys, it is so good. It is so good. And you know, like sometimes if you're a reader, or it can be the same with a Netflix show or something, that you could watch it at a certain point or read it at a certain point and it wouldn't be that interesting to you, but then you like watch it or read it at another point and it is like you're so intrigued. I'm so intrigued with this book, and it's so well written, and it's just really, really good. So I want to listen to a little bit more of that tonight. I'd like to listen to like an hour of it before I go to bed. Anyway, I've just been around the house pretty much today, but I've been like going and doing this and doing that and whatever. The one really nice thing about this diet is that it keeps me on a structure, because you know, you eat every 2.5 to 3 hours. So you're kind of set to that structure a little bit. Somebody is texting me. You're kind of set to that structure. So I like it. I really like it. I will say I don't love all of the food, but like my food today was not bad. And I think that a lot of it is just like the consistency of it. Tonight I had this vegetable chili. It was really good, you guys. Like the flavor of it, I mean, it's really watery, but the flavor of it is delicious. I mean, it tasted like chili that my mom made when I was growing up as a kid. And what else did I have today? I had a cinnamon bar. It was good. The bars are bars. I mean, they just taste like, you know, the diet bars that you can get in boxes at the store. But they hold up, I think, to other granola bars. I didn't have any smoothies or any shakes today. What else did I have? I can't remember. Did I have all bars? I pretty much had like a lot of bars today. I had the drizzled chocolate that Alex said was one of his favorites. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't my favorite. The peanut butter is definitely my favorite so far. And for my dinner tonight, my lean green, I had a veggie patty and a pretty big salad. And I guess I can have like 2 of those veggie patties. I went on the website, and there's a like whole list of like all the things you can have that are vegetarian that's not actually in that book. So I'm gonna go in there, and actually a lot of Morningstar stuff is on there, but they try to keep you on things that are not super high in carbohydrates or sodium. So I have to kind of like be specific about what I have on there. Last night the egg beaters were really good. So, you know, as long as I have a couple different things that I can do. Somebody asked about what I'm going to do on Sunday brunch. Alex did this diet while he was on, who keeps on texting me? Alex was on this diet, and we would go to Sunday brunch, and, you know, he would just eat very limited stuff, which is interesting because I don't think that he might have had the chili, because I don't think that he could have had without crackers, because the Cuban breakfast that he always has a lot of rice in it. But like where we go, they will make you like a vegan omelet. They have a vegan omelet there. They also have an all egg white omelet, and both of those are on the menu, and I think I can have like 4 egg whites, I think it is. So that could be my lean and green for the day. And then I could just get that with arugula on the side, and that would be my lean and green for the day. So that's probably what I'm going to do for brunch, and just stick to that for a while. I'm very committed to this. I honestly thought by day 3 it would be a lot harder. I had a headache, but it was a migraine all day today, you guys, like from the rain. And it just was like my head was just throbbing. It has literally rained all day today, and really hard at some points. And when it like thunderstorms, that's usually when my migraines like are the worst. But yeah, so I was a little hungry earlier in the day, but I thought I would be like super hungry. And a lot of people say that like because you're going through like sugar withdrawals and things like that. I got my coffee today at Starbucks, but I didn't get any, this is the second day that I didn't get any sweet and low in it or equal. And so like I'm really, and I haven't had a soda in 3 days. Yeah, I'm not struggling at this point. I'm really not, you know. I mean, could I pull through somewhere and eat just an outrageous amount of food? Absolutely. And it's interesting because my thought goes to that. Like, my thought will go to, oh, it'd be really fun to have this or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, okay, but you're like, you know, you got to stick to this diet. And so I don't. I have lost some weight. I'm not going to talk about that until I'm going to weigh myself every day. I know people tell you not to weigh yourself every day. I know there's a lot of people that have that opinion. And I appreciate that. But for me, that's just something that I'm going to do. But I'm not going to announce my weight loss, except for only once a week on here. So, since I started it on Tuesday, next Tuesday, I'll announce my weight loss of what I'm doing. I want to see, who's texting me? So yeah, somebody said in there, somebody asked me about, they said something about the price. Like a lot of people have said stuff about the price, how expensive it is, which I will agree with you. Like, I do think it's expensive. It's $356 with shipping. I think it's with shipping and handling, and it's once a month. So the food lasts for 30 days. But you know, if you break it down to, you know, the $356, you know, it comes down to like $11 a day or something like that. Well, plus whatever you buy for your lean and green, which for me is, you know, like a package of the grillers. If I get like 2 or 3 of those a week, okay, what is that? Like $9, you know, plus the lettuce on top of that, which is what, like, you know, $6 a week. So it's like, you know, $15, let's say, extra a week. So that's 30, 60 extra a month. So it's really like spending $100 a week on food total, other than like what I would do for brunch, because my plan right now is not to go out to dinner a whole lot and stuff. So it's like $100 a week on food. I don't think that's super expensive. I mean, I have to be honest with you, the way that we spend money on food and the way that I spend money on fast food and things like that in the past, I don't think that it's super expensive. You know, I could go to Kroger and buy hummus and cheese and crackers and all that kind of stuff and literally spend between, you know, $20 and $30 in a night. And granted, some of that stuff might last me 2 nights, but not typically. I usually go somewhere else the next day and get something else, you know, some kind of pasta or something like that. Whole Foods is extremely expensive. So I don't really think $11 to $12 a day is that expensive for food, you know. I personally, I don't. The commitment is buying it ahead of time and having to pay the money ahead of time, right? That's where the expensiveness comes in it. And the expensiveness, that's where it becomes expensive. But like for me, the commitment to paying $356 to get the food, I actually put it away finally. It was sitting in the box for 3 days, so I put it away in the cabinet tonight and cleaned out the cabinet a little bit. But the commitment to paying that money up front and getting the food, I knew that I wouldn't, I knew that I wouldn't just like throw the food away. Like, you know, that I wouldn't just be like, I'm not doing this anymore after a day or two, because you buy the food and it's expensive, and I'm not going to just be like, I'm not doing this anymore. And, you know, honestly, if I did do that and say I didn't want to do it anymore, Alex would do the food. I mean, he would eat the food and do the diet because he enjoyed it. So, you know, like, it's not like it would totally go to waste, but I'm not going to spend that money and then not do the diet. Especially when I haven't had that much of a problem right now, and I'm really committed to this time. So, I guess the proof is in the pudding. We'll see, right? Today I was a little tired. Again, Alex, he was like, I think that will go by in like, you know, a couple days. But he was like, if it doesn't, he was like, you can get some vegetable broth, and maybe that will give you a little bit of nutrients in between. That's one of the things that he suggested, and the coach that I'm working with suggested that as well. So, you know, we'll just see. I didn't realize there was a whole vegetarian option. Somebody actually, I think, put that in the comment section, or they tweeted it to me. Somebody, I've had a lot of you guys have responded, like, tweeted me and emailed me and stuff like that about this diet, like your experiences with it and all that kind of stuff. I'm actually going to make, you don't have to do this. You guys can do whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to make a suggestion for the comment sections. For the people out there that want to, like, share what they're doing, because there's somebody out there that was, like, left a very, very nice comment, but it was about them doing keto and how well keto worked for them and all that kind of stuff. You know, and a lot of people are like, well, any diet works if you stick to it. I absolutely agree with that. But being that there's often a conversation that occurs between you guys in the comment section below, it probably would, like, I still read your comments and I appreciate it, but, like, I'm not going to switch my diet right now. Like, I just bought the food. I'm not going to switch the diet. So I appreciate your recommendations, but, like, 3 days into it, I'm not going to go, oh, well, get rid of all this food and now I'm going to do, you know, some other diet. I'm not going to do that. So if you want to share your story of how you've lost weight or what program works for you, I'm totally open to you guys putting that down there. But I feel like when you say it to me, I think to other people that are reading it, it kind of comes across like, well, why are you telling Peter to do something different? I think, like, if you would just put out there, hey, you guys, let me share what really worked with me. Like, or, hey, Peter, congrats, you know, whatever you want to do to make it sound nice so people don't come for you, okay? Because I don't want anybody to be attacked in my comment section. But to say, you know, like, hey, Peter, congrats, or good luck, or whatever, you don't even have to say that. But hey, guys, I just wanted to let you know what worked for me. I did keto, you know, it's really, really worked for me. Or, you know, this is I did Weight Watchers or the Atkins diet. If you guys want to share that in the comment section below, and then people want to do it and they have questions, I'm totally fine for that, okay? Me sharing my weight loss journey is just a way to have a conversation, a starting point. You know, I know it's not the end all. I know it's not the best diet or the worst diet out there. I know it's just a diet out there, and it's just, for me, a jump start to getting healthy and living healthy. But I know that there are actually a lot of ways that people have lost weight and things that they've done that have really been helpful for them. So if you want to share those stories in the comment sections, I am totally, by all means, I am totally all open to that. But I think if you share it as less a suggestion to me and more of, like, kind of an open, like, hey guys, I just like to share with you what worked for me, I think you would get a better response on it. That's just my perspective. So, I mean, if you want to write the comment to me and say, hey, Peter, what you're doing is completely a joke and it's never going to work for you and this is what worked for me, I'm open to that too. But I just don't think people are going to hear your comments as much as you would like them to be, if that makes sense. So, and who knows? I mean, the plant's been seeded, or plant's been seeded. That too, but the seed's been planted, meaning, you know, that if this doesn't work for me, which I hope that's not the case, I'm trying not to live in that. Like, in the past, I've always said, like, if this doesn't work, I'm not trying to live in that today. I'm trying to live in this will work, and this is going to work, and this is working. But, you know, down the road, if I want to try something different, the seed's been planted with people sharing their stories of keto and Weight Watchers and other things. And, you know, somebody left a very long comment about, like, making smoothies and using guacamole and tomatoes and then making that as, like, kind of like a paste for a sandwich, what I thought sounded delicious. And I was like, okay, this is actually a good suggestion. You know, like, I you know, keep all of that information and for down the road. You know, like that last one that I was talking about, like, that would be where I would like to move to as far as healthy living. far as doing that. But for right now, I just need some structure. I need something that I can go to. I literally am like so structured about this right now, you guys, because I'm a list maker, so it works for me. Because I'm like putting on my note, you know, I'm putting like, well, I have all of my meals listed and what times I'm eating them. And then I have it listed by like for each day. So I just, like the night before, I pull the meals I'm going to be eating for the next day. And then, and I even like kind of, oh, God, that's a lot of water. It's like kind of flooding out a little bit. I, you know, also like put what I'm gonna have for my lean and green and stuff like that. Then I count my waters, and I have a bottle of water right here, but I'm trying not to drink it because I have to go to the bathroom. So, but I am kind of thirsty, so I guess I'll have a drink. What was I gonna say? Anyway, like, no, that structure of me going through there and seeing, like, you know, oh, I have to eat in 2.5 hours, and what am I going to have, and pulling it out, like, that really, really works for me. I'm really enjoying it right now. I like it, you know? This diet is not realistic, I don't think, for doing it 365 days a year at holiday. I mean, you could do this at a holiday, you know, and have, like, a half a piece of turkey, maybe, or two, and, you know, a little bit of salad, and maybe, you know, some other vegetables. But I mean, by the holiday season, if I've lost the weight that I want to lose, by that point hopefully I'll be more into like a maintenance or, you know, a healthy living, so that I'll be able to not just eat whatever I want to eat, but be a little bit more open to that. We'll see. I'm excited about it. I actually feel like I picked the right time to do this. You know, it's like second to the last week of April. And then I have all May. We don't have anything that we're like doing in May, except for maybe like a few parties and stuff and events. And then most of June, I don't think we have anything planned in June. We may do something for our birthday, but I don't know yet. We haven't really talked about it. And then Alex said today, we were talking about going to San Diego, and he was like, we can always go like September, October, November. He was like, we don't have to go in July. So I don't know. We're going to kind of look at the prices and see which ones would be more affordable, and also talk to my brother-in-law and his girlfriend and see like what would work better for them. Because they threw out the end of July because they're going to be away for a while traveling. So they're going, I think they're going to Thailand again. And my brother-in-law did a internship in Singapore, and then his girlfriend came over. This was like a couple years ago. His girlfriend did this was before they lived in San Diego. She came over for the last week. It was like a whole summer that he was there. And then she came over for the last week, and then they went to Thailand. And so I think they're going to Thailand again. And they're going for an extended period of time. And then, so when he came back, he was like, we're going to be working a lot. We're going to be really focused on getting this stuff done and whatever. And so he was like, maybe the end of July. And so yeah, we'll see. Plus, they'll probably be coming home at some point. I don't want to like do it and then have them coming home like a week later. You know what I mean? I'm really leaving it up to Alex when he wants to go. So, let's see what else. I made a video for my BookTube channel today about Columbine. I posted my vlog, which was like an hour and it was like an hour and 34 minutes, you guys. And then I did a Peterisms video. I did not do a Peter review stuff video because this thing I was gonna do was very similar to what I did yesterday with the post-it notes, and I thought I'm just not gonna do that again. And then I filmed 2 videos on my Peter Monn channel because I was uploading this video about James Charles' tour, and I had it uploaded for like 5 minutes, and somebody commented and said he just posted an update on all of his socials about this. And so I went and looked, and I was like, well, I can either do a video about this tomorrow, or I can just, and Alex was gone. He was with his girlfriend for her birthday and a group of people, and I was like, I can just do it tonight, and because the information's out, so I might as well just, you know, put it in a video and put it out there. Where am I at on time? Oh my God, 20 minutes I almost spoke already. So I did that, and then I fed the dogs way early today. Took them out. They didn't really want to go out a whole lot today because of the rain. They do not like the rain. I can't stand the rain against my window. I love the rain like this. I have to be honest, I'm kind of glad that I finished Columbine. It was a lot. It was a really heavy book. And just such a horrible tragedy. One of the things that was interesting was at the end of it, you know, I never thought of it this way, but like a lot of the students, like over time would say, you know, Columbine, like we refer to Columbine, I think, you know, as an event, as a tragedy that occurred. But they recur, kind of very similar to like Newtown, you know? They refer to Columbine as their high school, Columbine High School, right? So they really, a lot of them hate, he talks about this in there, they disliked the hate's a strong word, I guess, but they disliked the connection to the event, that they were more than just this event, and they didn't want to always just be remembered for that. One of the most empowering things in the book is this Patrick Ireland kid who was a victim, the one that was crawling out the window, and like his story is just so endearing and empowering. And at the end of it, he's like sharing something about, somebody said something to him like, "Are you okay today?" And he didn't even realize till later when he was at work, and he wrote down the date on something that it was the anniversary. Like that's how they don't allow it to affect them today. And you know, what was interesting in reading the book, and I talked a lot about this in my BookTube video, but since a lot of you don't watch my BookTube video, I'll talk about it over here, and I have dedicated a lot of time talking to Columbine. So, you know, one of the saddest things about it was that Eric Harris, they go to this whole thing at the end, David Cullen does, the author, about him being a psychopath. And that, like, he went to this convention to share his experience, this FBI detective, and or FBI investigator, FBI guy, what do you call it? Anyway, agent. And he was worried that when he referred to Eric Harris, so the whole idea is that Eric Harris was this psychopath who planned this whole thing, and Dylan Klebold just went along with it because he was suicidal, depressed, and angry at the world. And I don't know how much truth there is to that, but that's what they apparently found from all of this. But like Eric Harris really had this goal. I mean, it's very scary when you hear the things he said and the journal that they read from. And I mean, he was like focused on mass destruction. I mean, it's really scary. Like, and the thing is that was very smart. And so he really wanted to rule people by fear. And to some degree, like when you're reading the book, what you realize is that he did, because people are still to this day scared. I mean, we still talk about Columbine. Like, I wouldn't want something like Columbine to happen, or, you know, whatever. And then they go in and they talk about these other shootings that occurred, like, it's going to stop. Hold on a second. They go in and they talk about these other shootings that occurred, like Virginia Tech, and how the guy in his manifesto referred to Dylan and Eric twice or 3 times, like in there, but didn't really know why, except for that they inspired him. And a lot of other people that were involved in school shootings said that as well. And so they did have kind of this lasting impression, this fear, you know, that they had ingrained in people. And so the book is important. It's so important, I think, because I think for us to understand what happened and was it preventable and what we could do different. And, you know, and not only that, but just, I think, reaching out to people and seeing what's going on with them, and, you know, maybe being the nicer person. And so little of it had to do with, I mean, they were actually the bullies. That's actually the truth. If you read the book and you hear, like, you know, the friends of theirs talk, I mean, they weren't being bullied. Like, maybe some, but that's not like what this was about. But when he went to go speak about Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold at this like convention, this FBI convention, he was worried that these other agents and psychiatrists and stuff would like let him have it because he referred to Eric Harris as a psychopath, or a growing psychopath, I think is what he called him, something like that. And this psychiatrist got up and said that he didn't agree with him, and he said he wasn't a growing psychopath, he was a full-fledged psychopath. And anyway, it's very scary when you read it, and I think what's scary is that you realize the capacity for something like this happening on a much larger scale, or happening again, or when it has happened. I mean, they talk about Virginia Tech, and I didn't realize that, Columbine was 13 people killed and I think 24 people injured. Virginia Tech was Virginia Tech was 32 people killed and 17 people injured. I don't understand that. Makes me sad. So then I think, well, we have to take something from it that can be a learning experience. How do we be different in society? How are we different in society going forward? And understanding people differently, and like with the case of Eric Harris, like, so this is kind of what he suggests without coming out and saying it, that Eric Harris was a psychopath. There probably was no stopping him. He was going to do it. He had been planning this thing for a year. There's one part where he's like, he does this auto recording, and it's like a week before April 20th, and he says that it's kind of weird to think that he's going to be dead in a week, and that his parents don't even know that he's going to be gone in a week, and all this kind of stuff. And the other thing that was interesting, especially after watching like Shane Dawson's whole thing about psychopaths and sociopaths with Jake Paul and all that kind of stuff, one of the things that was interesting was that they go into this whole like identification of what like a psychopath is, and some of the things that they talk about in there, like the way that it plays out with Eric Harris, is so interesting to me. So what he suggests is that Eric Harris was going to do this no matter what. Like, that was just the case, or that was just what was going on. He was going to do it, right? But Dylan Klebold actually didn't really want to do it, and he was more suicidal than anything else. And like to this day, his mother refers to it as she talks about it as a suicide. But there were a lot of signs with Dylan, and there were a lot of signs with Eric too. There were a lot of, and this is not by any means to blame somebody, but there were just missed opportunities that maybe we could have found out a little bit more of what was going on, because there were some serious things that happened, and with both of them in their teenage years. And what Dave Cullen suggests, kind of, or David Cullen, I guess I should call him, because I don't know him, and I don't know if he goes by Dave or not. David Cullen suggests kind of is that if somebody had intervened with Dylan Klebold, that Dylan Klebold, who always told on himself, whether it was a stolen computer or credit card or whatever, like, he was always telling on himself, right? Like with alcohol and things like that. That if somebody had intervened with Dylan Klebold, that he would have told what was going to happen with he and Eric, and it would have stopped it. But who knows if that's true, you know? We don't know. The book also talks about this girl that Dylan was infatuated with, and they refer to her as Harriet in the book. I don't know why he randomly picks that name. Why you would randomly pick the book Harriet, or the name Harriet. I thought that was kind of funny. But it makes you really wonder who it was. Like, who is this girl that he was obsessed with? That, I mean, not that it matters, but Because he says at the end something to the effect of, they're talking about, does he write it or does he say it? I think Dylan writes it in his, like, they write a lot in, like, their school schedule book. And I think he said something about, like, we're going to be together forever. And it wasn't about Eric. That he was thankful that Eric was, like, giving him the out, but that he wanted to be, like, in the afterlife together with this Harriet that he had never even really talked to. And, but it never addresses whether or not she was one of the victims or not. And so it kind of makes you almost wonder. So sad. So many strange things that happen in it too. Like this one girl that's a survivor, like she's shot and goes to the hospital and stuff. And like, I think it's like a year later or something, her mom, like her and her dad are going to this fundraiser thing. Her mom walks into a gun shop and is looking at some gun, and she brought bullets with her, and she puts bullets in the gun, and she fires the wall, and then she kills herself. Like, there's a lot of that stuff that happens kind of surrounding this story that I'm just like, I don't, what? Like, this is, and they said that she was, like, you know, suffered from other stuff before, too. The other thing was, in this video that I watched, it was talking about all these, like, weird conspiracies around it. They talked about these two kids on Valentine's Day the following year being killed at Subway. And they kind of, like, in this video that I saw, they kind of related it to that a little bit. Well, David Cullen actually talks about it in the book, that there were all these kind of sad things that happened afterwards. Like, the star basketball player committed suicide, and then these two kids were shot and killed in Columbine, and then they found, like, somebody dead in a dumpster. And they were asking the kids, and the kids were like, I don't want to live here anymore. Like, what is going on with Columbine? Like, this is crazy. It's weird to think of, like, tragedies like that. You know, like, I remember when... Okay, so I don't think I've ever talked about this on a vlog before, ever. So when I got sober, my friend that I went to elementary, junior high, high school, college, graduate school, she introduced me to this guy, and he and I became really good friends. And he didn't use drugs or drink or anything. And so, like, we became really, really close friends. And he kept me entertained a lot. Like, he wasn't in recovery, but he was somebody that, like, I would go over to his apartment, and he was really into music, and he would make mixtapes, and we would just sit there and watch TV, and he just was a lot of fun. We had a good time. And this is really, really funny, you guys. Okay, so at the time, he had two roommates, this other gay guy that lived upstairs that I did know, and then he had this girl roommate that lived in, like, she had this, so his room was, like, around this one side, and her room was, like, around the kitchen, and her room was in back. And so she would literally, like, we'd be sitting there watching a movie, and she'd, like, come in, get her stuff, and then leave, because she stayed at her boyfriend's house all the time, right? So... And I mean, literally, this is like a year of my life, you guys. I was over there for like a year, like 3-4 nights a week. And she would come in, and she would leave. She'd come in, and she would leave. And she was like she was a cheerleader here in Indianapolis for a sports team and stuff. And she would come in, and after, like, you know, a game or something, she would change, and then she would leave. Well, flash forward, okay? I don't know when that would have been, flash forward 20 years, well, not even that long, but, we have a couple that's like one of our, it's not Melissa and Jason, but we have a couple that is like one of our dearest couple friends ever that we do a lot of stuff with, and anyway, we're extremely close with them, extremely, and have been around them for the last, I mean, we met them the year we dated, started dating, so 10 years we've known them now plus. You know, their kids are in college now. We knew them when they were younger. We used to go over there for family dinners and holidays and things like that. They've just been very dear to us. Well, this is like 4 years, okay, after we've been friends with them. I mean, really, really close. I'm sitting there one night, and the wife and I are talking. she's like, I mean, she and I are like dear friends. And I mean, we've talked about everything. We talked about growing up in, Indianapolis, where we grew up, how they met, how we met, all of it. We've talked about everything. And we're sitting there, and I said, well, when you were, because we're like about the same age, she's a couple years older than me, and I said, well, somehow something came up about where she lived back in those days. Oh, I asked her where, like, they were living before she and they moved in together and they got married. And she said she said the apartments that she was living in. And I said, oh my God, that's so weird. I had a friend the year that I got sober that lived in those apartments, and I was there like every single night. And she was like, oh really? And she was like, was he gay? And I was like, yeah, there was like two of them there. There was two gay guys and this girl. And she goes, that's so weird, because I used to live with two gay guys. And I go, you're shitting me, who were they? And she said, I go, oh my God, I was at your apartment literally like 3 or 4 nights a week. And she goes, seriously? I said, yes, I remember you coming in with those Reebok shoes, and you'd like change and get your bag, and then you'd like say bye guys, and you'd leave, and because like the lights were always down, we were watching movies or playing music and stuff, and she would like leave. And I mean, I don't think I was ever introduced to her, or if I was, I don't remember. And the thing is that her maiden name is so completely different than her married name that I don't know that I would have connected the two anyway. And it had been 20 plus years that if I met her, it would have maybe only been like once or twice. So anyway, it was so weird. So she reached out to him on Facebook and was like, oh my God, you're never gonna guess who I'm really good friends with now. And it just was like this whole thing. So my camera fell. But anyway, so yeah, so she reached out to him on Facebook, and I've talked to him since and stuff like that, but we haven't like talked a whole lot. But isn't that so weird? I think it's weird. She and I, every once in a while, will talk. And then what's weirder about it is like, there's like 5 people in between us that we know, like not super well, but that like she knew back in the day and I knew back in the day. And there was like this artist that her roommate was friends with that like I knew from some other stuff. And she's like, oh yeah, I knew her really, really well. And so it's kind of bizarre. Like we have all these people that we knew back in the day that we didn't really, really know that we knew. So didn't really know that we knew. Anyway. Isn't that whole kind of 6 degrees of separation thing very, very strange, you know? Like, I think to some degree, like, Facebook has ruined that for us. Like, I don't get on Facebook very often. Like, hardly ever do I ever post on Facebook. And in fact, when we were on our trip, I posted something because I was like, I'll just maybe want this memory down the road, or for my friends that aren't on any other social media and I don't talk to really very often, I'll put this up. I put something about like being in Miami and then being in Mexico and being with Alex, and but like I think that was the first time I had posted in like 2 or 3 months. I rarely, almost never go to Facebook, ever. But you know, if I do, well, like what last week was I talking about it, that I fell down the rabbit hole of Facebook? My God. And see, that's what happens, is I start looking at like, oh, this person commented, what happened to them? This is exactly what happened to me last week. This is why I don't get on the Facebook, because I just waste my life up on the Facebook, is if I do that. I used to do that back in the day. I'd be like, I'd look at somebody and then I'd literally go through every one of their mutual friends to see like if we just know somebody randomly together. What's really weird is like I did that with my cousin Caroline years ago, and I found out that she and I knew like 10 people in common that I was like, how do you know this person? She's like, oh, I know them really well, and blah, 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 whatever. And in fact, one of my cousin's like very, very best friends is somebody that I went to junior high, or I went to elementary, junior high, and high school with. And Caroline was going through her mom's stuff before Easter, and she found this newspaper clipping of me and this girl and like these 2 other people for like this choir thing that our school was doing. It was like in the local newspaper, and it was like us just standing there, and she's actually like tying this tie around my neck, and it's this other guy and girl, and like she's tying the tie on his neck as well. And so Caroline took a picture of it and sent it to me, and she's like, I cannot believe that you guys have known each other since like 1st grade. And I was like, I know. And this is one of Caroline's closest friends today that she didn't even know till like 10 years ago. So it's really weird, you know, like the whole 6 degrees of separation thing. And have you ever done that? Like looked people up on Facebook and you're like, this is so bizarre that we know people, we have people that we know in common. It's not so bizarre when it's like somebody that you have no clue who they are, because I have to be honest, there's a lot of people that I'm friends with on Facebook. I am so congested. There are a lot of people that I'm friends with on Facebook that I have absolutely no idea who they are. But then there's a lot of people on Facebook that I'm really good friends with, or was really good friends with at one time, or knew really well, or whatever. And then I'm like, oh my God, and we have this person in common today. Like, that's what's weird, you know? But life changes and you move on. And I think a lot of people are kind of getting off Facebook now. Do you think that's true? Do you think there will be a day when Facebook's obsolete? Or all social media, Instagram, you know? I never get on Snapchat, ever. If you send me a message on Snapchat, I can promise you I haven't seen it, because I don't think I've been on Snapchat since the last time I posted something, which was probably, I don't know. It was probably a video or something that I posted. I mean, I just don't go to Snapchat. I enjoyed it back in the day, the way that it was set up, but since they changed it, I don't like it. I really am not that technological. I just can't understand that stuff. But I do like social media. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. But I also sometimes feel like I sit there and it's not just with social media. I do it with like just Google searching stuff too, you know, like I talk about this a lot, where I'll Google search like the cast of a TV show or a movie. Typically what happens is I'll be watching a movie or a TV show and I'll be like, that person looks so familiar to me. Like, what else have I seen them in? Like, I know I've seen them in something else that I really liked. And so I'll like look up the cast, right? And then I'll see that person. But then, like, I'll see somebody, and I'll go and I'll read their Wikipedia page, and I can tell you, like, where they were born and where they went to school and all that stuff. That stuff's very fascinating to me. I don't know why. And then I will, like, but sometimes if I go to the movie or the show and I see that, like, I'll see some other, I'll go through literally, like, all of the cast. Okay, I just did this not too long ago. So, Tanya's husband was watching the return of Roswell. I guess there's a new Roswell remake. I didn't watch it, and I don't know anything about it. Alex and I said that we were going to watch it, and then we didn't, because Eric was, like, all about it. And I loved Roswell the first time it was around. It was one of my favorite shows back in the day. And religiously watched it. So, one night when I came home from Tanya's, like, that was the night that Eric was watching it and was like, oh, it's really good, you guys should watch it. And I was like, well, Alex kind of mentioned it in passing, but I didn't even know that they were coming out with a new one or whatever. So that night I got home and I was like, I Googled Roswell. Okay, this is where my life goes. This is how I waste an hour of my life. That is just total a waste of time. I Googled, like, Roswell, and then, like, the new one, and I looked at it. And then I Googled, like, Roswell cast, and it came up, like, where are they now? And so I went in and I read, like, 2 articles on, like, where is the cast of Roswell now, and what have they been doing with their lives. But then I also went in and, like, read all of their Wikipedia pages, and who'd care? Like, why am I doing this? And I, like, literally, like, an hour went by, and I'm just sitting there, like, on the chair like this, like, you know, probably eating one cracker with hummus after another, and I'm just sitting there looking at the phone. I mean, it's like literally like an hour later. My husband, no lie, could be on Instagram for 3 hours straight and he would feel like it was 5 minutes. He is on Instagram all the time. All the time. He loves it. He is obsessed with Instagram. I'm gonna need to run in somewhere and go to the bathroom. I don't have any idea how long I've been vlogging now. Let's see. Well, at least 30 minutes, because 24 is when it stopped. And now it's at 7, so what is that, 30, 31? Like I said, I'm not going to vlog for a really long time tonight, but do I have anything else to say? I don't know. I'll go up here to the gas station and then that's when I'll stop. I can listen to my audiobook for a little bit, go home and go to bed. I changed all of the bedding today, changed the sheets, and all the blankets and pillowcases and everything. Sprayed it with this linen freshener thing. And, what's that called? Linen spray. And, so the bed is made real nice. Really weird. Alex has been, like, making the bed lately. I don't know if it's because he knows that I like it. He typically does more his side than the whole bed, so I doubt that to be true. This is literally flooded almost across the entire street. But I said something to him, and he was like, I'm starting to like more of like a made bed, which is so weird. I don't know if you guys are like this in relationships, but when I met Alex, I wouldn't say it was like, you know, made like army bed, how they make it, like corners and all that stuff, but I made a bed that was like a hotel bed, and I had pillows on there that were really nice. You know, it was always just that. It was like perfection. And Alex hated, there's water all over the road. Alex, I'll tell you what I would hate is one of these yards along here that is literally just like a lake. I can't even imagine it. My dogs won't go out in the yard anyway when it's like this. They'll go on the front porch. PB like pees right there on the front. He like goes off into he like has his two back legs on the little front porch ledge, and then his two front paws down on the mulch, and that's all. He just pees right there like that. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, like I used to love to make the bed and it would be like perfect, you know? And then when I got with Alex, he like hated that. Like he would say, I don't like getting into a bed that's made. I don't like it. Like I hate getting into a bed that's made. I like when you get in and the covers are like, you know, just a mess and the blankets are a mess. I never really understood that, to be honest. But I finally gave it up. I mean, I think one of the things that you realize in a relationship are just some things that you just don't fight, you know? That, like clothing. Like, I'm very weird about, like, folding my clothing and having it. Well, Alex, like, his clean clothes he takes such great care of his clothes. But he has, like, this dirty pile of clothes that, like, is always, like, pretty high in that corner, you know? And then he'll take a Saturday and he'll do all of his laundry and get it all done. But when we got together, like, I would always be like, well, could we put this in the closet so it's not just, like, out in the open or whatever? And he would say, that's my corner. Just let me have my corner, like, you know? And I just one day was like, just let him have his corner. It's just not that deep. You know what I mean? And life seemed to work real well that way. He has his side. I have my side of the bedroom, you know? But it's cute now that he's wanting to, like, make the bed, you know? I like it. I love getting into a made bed. Oh, my God, this is lot of water there. My mom, when I was a kid, we would drive through the water and she would say, we're going through the lake. We're going through the lake. Surprised she didn't kill her car in retrospect. I always forget about the rain in the spring in Indiana. It's like we get so much rain in Indiana. And in the summer, like, we'll have summer thunderstorms late in the afternoon, early evening, which I think is nice. And then by the late evening, you know, it usually clears up and you can go to the pool or something like that. But spring in Indiana is like horrific rains. Fall in Indiana, horrific rains. And it's just constant. It just, I don't know, it just feels like we'll have like 3 really nice days in a row, followed by 7 like cloudy, rainy days. I'm just over it at this point. Because it doesn't dry up, like, by the next day. It's like, the grass is soggy, it's swampy, it's nasty. Don't get me wrong, I love sitting inside and seeing it, and, I put some candle waxes in the candle wax thing today, and, while I was working around the house, and, you know, cleaning up the kitchen and doing all that kind of stuff, and it was nice, the rain. I love the sound of it. I think it's pretty. If I'm sitting there reading a book or something or taking a nap, I think it's fantastic. But to, like, go out to your car when it's pouring down rain, I hate that. A little unknown fact, I will never use an umbrella. Like, I don't ever use, I mean, if somebody has one, they're like, do you want to get underneath it? I'm like, yeah, sure. But I never carry an umbrella. Well, the battery died, so good thing I had another one. Not that I'm gonna vlog for a whole lot longer. I'm not going to anyway, so I had to pull over and change that. But yeah, umbrellas, I don't love them. My husband, he likes to use an umbrella. This is like such a stupid thing to talk about, isn't it? I just think it's such a random fact that I just, you know, when anybody like, they're like, here, do you want an umbrella? I'm like, no thanks, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just make a run for it at the car. And I know I wear a hat a lot, but typically if I'm wearing like this hat, because I don't want to get this hat soaking wet, because like, this is a nice hat, I'll like take the hat off and like run to my car. But it's been like thunderstorming here and stuff. It's just, and then it's just, in between that, it's just like constant drizzle and just, oh, it's so much. And like I said, like if I'm at home, I like it. But if like I'm in my car, it's just, it's a lot, you know? Especially if you're stuck in traffic in the rain. It's so weird how like in certain situations or circumstances that you would love something. Like if I'm at home taking a nap or reading or just making a pot of coffee at home, like I love the rain. But then if I'm like having to go somewhere or I'm dressed nice and I'm getting soaked by the rain, you know, like I don't like it. Isn't that funny? It's not exactly the most original thought in the world, but I just think it's interesting. We have flash floodings a lot in Indianapolis too. Do you guys have those where you live? There's always like flash flooding warnings like on TV and stuff. When I was listening to my audiobook last night, there was an Amber Alert from Southern Indiana. I haven't seen an Amber Alert in a long time come up on my phone. Sad, isn't it? I cannot wait to get to this gas station and go to the bathroom. Okay, well listen you guys, I think I'm gonna get off here now. I have no idea how long I've vlogged, but I can tell you that this vlog is not long tonight. I know it's probably like 35, 40 minutes or something like that, which I mean, I guess it's not short, but it's not as long as the other vlogs. So go back and watch an old vlog that you haven't seen in a long time or one that you missed. And and I will be back tomorrow. Let me know some things you guys would like to hear me talk about. And I'll talk about some of this. I'll pick a couple of them and talk about it in the comment section below. Or I'll talk about it from the comment section below. Oh, I do want to say this really quick. If you've made it to the end of my vlog, Sean, happy belated birthday. I saw that it was Sean's birthday. That's your second shout out that you've gotten on my channel now. So, happy birthday to you, Sean. And I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful birthday. She comments on literally every one of my videos, on every one of my channels. And, which is so fantastic. I appreciate it. Hope you did something fun. I hope you guys are having a fantastic, I hope you're having a fantastic Friday and an amazing day, unless you have other plans, and a great start to your weekend. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Look in the mirror, write it down. Don't forget to tell yourself that, because it's important to tell ourselves that we, you know, love ourselves and that we're worthy. It is. It's very important. We have to believe that. I think sometimes it's more important for us to believe that than for anybody else to believe it or hear or say it to us. And I will be back tomorrow, and I will see you then. Bye. Love ya.